That's the only thing I know.
Jared, you disgust me. You're descending down from a certain tier of nerd to like a lesser nerd. I just want you to know that.
What's that supposed to mean?
By going through, like, Evangelion nerds are like, I don't even know what to call it, like lowborn. They're common.
Lowborn.
Like,
Jesus Christ.
It's such a level of sweaty that like you could be at a comic book store and then like off in an even dustier ass corner, there's an Evangelion conversation going on.
Welcome back, my fellow dusty lowborns, to this dusty corner of the internet. Mitch 692, Jarod. Is that right? Mm-hmm. I thought I had the right way the other week, and I forgot what it was.
If you point to your left, you're pointing at me. Boom.
So it's the microphone way. That's
point towards your microphone to point at me. So
Jarod from the Nerd Academy podcast.
Yes, check that out. So Mitch, you went to point at me and you missed. Do you know who doesn't miss? This motherfucker.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
The Avas are an angel. I fucking knew it. I fucking knew it, Mitch.
They're not angels.
I was right.
They're not angels. They're not angels.
It's a copy of the first angel. Masato said it, Mitch.
Copy. They're not
an angel.
Angels.
I was right, Mitch.
Of course you are. I told you were warm about a lot of things, or certain things, slightly warmer on a specific thing, and that was a specific thing.
Oh. Fuck.
So congratulations.
Oh,
well
God.
Done.
I'm
well
so
done.
happy. I'm so happy. Not necessarily that I was right. It has nothing to do with that. I would have been happy just to get an answer.
I told you get answers.
It was just so satisfying to finally have an answer or question answered. So we can put that to bed. The Avas are duplicates, clones, copies, whatever, of the first angel. So the Avas and the angels are, in fact, inextricably linked. Done. Canon. Put it on the fucking book. Excellent. What the actual fuck else is going on, though?
What do you mean?
Yes, all of it.
Is there a place you want to start?
So,
how we've been doing this show for? I did like 8 thumbnails for this show earlier, and I could not remember where we are. Episode 11. 11 weeks, and you have notes for a reason, Jarod.
I know that was just a general question about what is going on. But no. So, jumping into the notes, jumping into my takeaways from the episode. I just need to say, and I'm sorry, I check the comments here and there on this show. Now, okay, let me say a couple things. One, I love the pro and noob comments. Because the top comment on any video is never, please, for the love of God, no more Jarod episodes. Which I just want to say for the record, I was not hurt by. I almost pissed my pants at work laughing when I saw it.
To be fair, if you carry on with the Oscar slander, there might be at some point comments like that.
To which I say,
they might not be not be from me.
To all of you Oscar sycophants,
highborns is what we're called.
I'm sorry. No.
Yes. Yes.
I am sorry to say this. The first moments of this episode, they were tough for me. I go into
making moves on Kaji, is that why?
I begin every episode going, I really hope Asuka wins me over this time. And then her first
Just gotta give it.
her first moment of every episode almost inevitably makes me dislike her as a person.
You're
not a
making
character.
choices that are
Great
completely
character.
unfair.
Great character, annoys the piss out of me as a person. I've talked about the Penelope Featherington effect before, where it's like I am reacting to this character. This character is eliciting a response from me. That does not mean the character is inherently bad or poorly written or any of those things. I just dislike her as a person. She's a great character. I don't like her. So make sure those two things don't necessarily mean the same thing. Again, it's the Penelope Featherington effect. But I did like a lot of the ways where Asuka was clearly projecting. That I thought was a real, again, she annoys the piss out of me, but there's some really efficient character work going on here. I really enjoyed the whole like, oh, you just want to be so good that you leave us all in the dust to just bask in your glory. And I'm like, hi, Pot. It's Kettle. You're black.
Sounds like a certain someone in a certain trivia show.
It does. It
Yeah,
does.
it does. Yeah.
And I'm going to take that belt off his shoulders.
Oh, we're not talking about the same people. That's
We're not. Who are
embarrassing.
you talking about?
No, it doesn't matter now.
No.
Don't matter. Totally fine.
Again, I hate it. I hate it. Now that I'm super into WWE, and CM Punk has become one of my favorite wrestlers, I will often forget that CM Punk's walkout music is Alden's Epic Confrontations music with Call to Personality. And I'm like, all right, here we go, CM Punk. And I hear the I'm like, every time I'm like, whoa.
Actual trauma response.
Actual trauma response. I feel like a vet. I feel like a veteran hearing fucking fireworks. And that little guitar lick, and I'm like, where's my fucking whiteboard? Scrambling. All of that to wrap up this Epic Confrontations joke, I have come to accept that I am not Cody Rhodes, but I am in fact Drew McIntyre. And not every joke is for you, Mitch. No,
I wasn't saying it was. I was just letting people know that I do not know. Not everything's aimed at you, Jarod. God.
But for everybody who watched SummerSlam, I think I do have hope. If Drew McIntyre can beat Punk, so I can beat Alden. But all of that to say, but no, I really love the projection going on with her. That was a really fun character beat. I will say, I love 85% of what is done with Shinji in this episode.
Ooh.
I love 85% of what is done with him in this episode.
Let's talk about the percentage you don't like first.
That 15% is him acting wildly out of character at the very beginning. Most of that...
Oh, what you mean where he's actually maybe genuinely happy for a second?
I don't like the way they frame Shinji being happy and Shinji being a fucking moron as the same thing. That is something that kind of fell short for me. It just felt weird for Shinji to... It felt weird for Shinji to have this moment of... And here's this thing I do. Again, where I've talked before about a lot of the times I will appreciate a story for what it's trying to say and maybe forget to engage with how well it might be trying, how efficiently it says it. And that just because I think I understand what it's saying, I don't go, well, how effective was it? And that is my own baggage as a critic and how I, dive into media. But I I think that there is a way where this could have worked for me. And again, this is me like ipso facto coming up with an argument why I should like it. But I think you can make an argument that Shinji has, and it's very pathetic that Shinji has racked up a few big W's in so far as his father addressed him by name, praised him, had like an actual emotional connective moment with him, and that Shinji's kind of riding that high. You know, like Shinji didn't walk into a room, get called a dumb fuck, didn't have his dad be like, I should have pulled out, looking directly in his eyes, and then go off again, then fuck off and focus all on Rei and whatever the fuck is going on there. You know, like Shinji's riding the high of, you know, he said a nice thing to me. He actually was in the same room as me. I've kind of been kicking ass. I'm doing really well at syncing with my Ava. So I understand that he's riding a few like really big highs and he's really feeling himself. However, and again, this is for me, and this is just my interpretation of how I've engaged with the text. It does not ring faithful to Shinji as a character, to me at least, to have him.
Oh, the glasses are off.
I'm just cleaning them. Don't worry, we've not reached unhinged territory where the
disappointed.
Don't worry, we might get there.
I hope so.
But we have. It does not ring true to me for Shinji for him to take "I'm riding a high" into him being like ridiculously cocky.
See, I know where the show goes and how it is, but I think it's.
You have a bird's eye view that I simply do not have right now.
Yeah, but I think it's a typical fundamental thing that the second someone like Shinji starts to sense things are going well, he's going to lose it and get to this cocky point.
Maybe. And again, there is some baggage here that again is comes part and parcel with me trying to analyze a show like this. Part of it is cultural familiarity. Part of it is, you know, as critical as I am of like the like Western hyper focus of Joseph Campbell, and I bring him up a lot in my work on this show, like whatever. But like, I do come at media and fiction from a Campbellian lens. I do. I can't shake that because fucking Star Wars. Like, I can't shake Joseph Campbell like story structure in my mind, even on a subconscious level. So, you know, again, there's like cultural elements. There is an unfamiliarity with the art form that I do have. It's why I'm the noob. You know, and part of it is like the way I kind of engage with these kind of heroes' journey stories rather. So like Shinji coming out of nowhere and hitting the well, it's a man's job to fight, so you ladies sit back and let me do my thing, like felt wildly out of character.
That's Shinji, also a very 90s thing. Like we are 90s slightly thing, removed. No.
But like Shinji is one of the few characters, again, aside from being a horny teenager, who he's one of the few male characters who hasn't really like trafficked in a lot of like the weird chauvinism a lot of the men are capable of in this show. And I understand that very clearly. A lot of those chauvinistic comments, a lot of those misogynistic remarks tend to be the character saying it, like indicting themselves. You know, like I can, like I'm not foolish enough to think that the show is necessarily like wildly sexist, so much as it's trying to show how, you know, unintelligent some of its characters are for having those opinions. And I can delineate those two things. But for me, it's like Shinji coming out the gate with "Sit back, ladies, let me show you how a man kills a fucking angel." weird.
He's just high on his own supply.
I'm sure he's high on his own supply, but it just did not feel true to his character. And I feel like if he's riding this high, I feel like it would make sense for him to be like, hey, and he even says like, Misato, you said I'm the best. So I think it would have been, I think for me, and I'm only harping on this as much as I am, because everything that follows this works so fucking well for me.
Because it's the consequences of his own actions.
For all of the Campbellian bullshit and whatever. For me, like the reason I'm harping on this is like because I think it would have worked so much better if he was like, my dad likes me. I'm good at this shit. I'm getting better. Like Asuka was his prodigy. Rey was here before me, but I'm rising to the top because I have what it takes. And I think if the angle was, it's okay, guys, I got this, and not him like coming out swinging his Gundam dick, I would have reacted differently to this moment or the beginning of it, because up to that point, like my main thing was Shinji. What the fuck was that?
I think I'm always funny when people have a complaint about characters acting out of character, because everyone does that. There's always points where people always act out of character, and it is a shock. I think if you're going to have them act out of character, you have to go for you have to actually make it a swing. Otherwise, it doesn't have the intended impact. The impact is you're supposed to not like Shinji where he is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's the theater principle. You got to play for the balcony. If you want the point to come across, sometimes it has to be a big fucking swing. I get that. I respect that. And with a show that, again, and these are one of those like quirks of anime storytelling where like aggressive internal monologue being made explicit comes with the territory. I feel like you could have gone with more of that internal monologue over him, again, kind of posturing and dick swinging. Like, I don't know. There is a quiet nobility to Shinji and this like reluctant hero archetype that for me like rings true as him kind of having a like, it's almost, again, pardon the Western references, but like it almost feels it feels like Peter Parker devoid of the joy of being Spider-Man.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you remove the factor, it feels like Shinji feels like Spider-Man if he had the fuck I hate my job that Zack Snyder's Superman has.
That's a horrendous comparison to make, but I can see it.
But but like it's in that tone. Like Shinji's like, yeah, I got to go out there, I got to be a hero, I got to help people, and I fucking hate doing this. This blows, but somebody's got to do it. Somebody got to do it. Like, and again, I think if you take the joy, like that, Peter Parker gets extreme joy and fulfillment from helping people, from knowing that he's helping people. He doesn't want credit, he doesn't want praise for it. The act alone will fulfill him, and it's something that makes that character so timeless.
That's why he's right there.
And yeah, and it's it's why he is such a fulfilling hero for the masses. So you take that fulfillment, that love of the game out of the equation, and then you're left with an interesting archetype as well. And that's what I like about Shinji. So I feel like if he had kind of started to like lean into the praise too much, that would have made it work better for me. And again, like 85% of what is going on with Shinji in this episode just flies high for me. It is just the beginning is so confounding to me as a choice for him. That it did take a nice chunk out of there, dropped it from an A to a B for me. Not that I like to grade media that much anymore, but just as a quick comparison.
I think you've also got to look at the environment around him, right?
Oh yeah.
Everything's so hyper, really. Like it's all raised up to an 11.
Yeah, right? It is hyper.
It's also I always get the impression it's that I don't know how to act in this way, so I'm gonna act like I know how to act, and he always get it wrong. It's
that I like that. I like that.
Like, that's always been my takeaway from it. It's like you have no clue how to act in this situation or how to act like someone who's confident. So you're gonna hyperlize it's not even a fucking word. You know, exaggerate. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Not hyper. Yeah, like just exaggerate everything, and that's the result you get, and that's why he makes
he's
the mistake.
putting on airs. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I like that take a lot. Church bells whenever Shinji is captured and presumed dead.
Poor guy stepped into a fourth dimensional being.
I loved Misato's like Shinji was an idiot for what he did, and I'll scold him when we get him back.
I think that's also another reason why I don't have an issue with the way he is, because the show doesn't present him as like in a good way for it. Everyone's like, this kid's dumb as shit. Like,
I
what
like
the
that everybody
fuck is he
that
thinking?
was stupid.
Yeah.
It's just stupid in a way that does not feel like Shinji's stupid. But that she had bars for that. You know me, I come from Star Wars. I love a mission briefing. I love the Death Star is too strong for any blaster turret to deliver. Princess Leia, and I am the only person who will ever call her Princess Leia. Don't think about it. That's my General Dodonna impression, everybody. Thank you. Again, this show continues to just say insane shit. And pretend that insane shit wasn't just said.
That's every sci-fi. Every sci-fi has that one thing that's dumb as fuck. You just have to go with it.
I don't necessarily think it's dumb as fuck. I am willing to suspend my disbelief to extreme levels. Again, Spider-Man, Batman, Star Wars are my big three. So let's remember that. But he was probably sent into another universe as this seems like a likely occurrence. And everybody going, checks out, and nobody reacting to that at all. What the fuck is going on? I
mean, the odds are probably pretty high when you're dealing with like a fourth dimensional being that has a three-dimensional shadow.
Sure. I respect that.
Like, I think in that situation, the multiverse is kind of
but again, it's
low on the things to be concerned about.
And again, I don't care about the internal consistency and science of a lightsaber. I don't care that using a grappling hook would dislocate Bruce Wayne's shoulder. I don't fucking care. It's when we put a hat on a hat that I'm like, that's just something that like it sounds normal to everybody else in the room, like sent to another universe. It was just kind of like one of those moments where it's like, oh yeah, and then yada yada yada, other universe. We all agree. Okay, moving on.
In fairness, she said probably. Like it was never a confident thing.
Again, he's in another dimension created by this angel, and it has a weird metaphysical whatever. I can buy. It was just the way it was presented as it put him in another universe. Moving on. So
you're saying if you're in that situation, you would argue with the science lady?
No, I wouldn't. I'm not saying I would argue with the science lady. I'm saying I just find it baffling. Okay.
You just wanted one guy to shrug, didn't you? Just like
just for the sake of argument and just where I'm coming from. And again, I don't care. This isn't a big issue for me. I just thought it was funny. Let's say in the next Star Trek TV show, they introduce Harry Potter style magic. Like a motherfucker shows up with a stick and says a spell and like a colorful beam flies out of the stick. And then that happens in exactly one episode. They never explain how that happened, and it's just a thing. And at some point aboard the USS Fuck You, somebody goes, yes, British transphobia magic. And everybody goes, yes, astute observation, Captain.
That's
And
every
then
day
the
in my
next
life in the
episode,
CBC
we
Facebook group.
never, ever, ever talk about British transphobia magic ever again. That is the kind of culture shock I had with this. Like, again,
that's
it's
fair.
not a bad thing. It's not whatever. It's just one of those, like, when you commit to a certain flavor of sci-fi, I feel like you have to, like, justify other levels of fantasticalness a little bit and kind of set the table for it. Again, with the shit I'm into, it's not like it's a hard sell for me. I just thought it just came out of nowhere so hard.
It is a very weird thing. Yeah, I will give you that, but it's
again not a.
It's one of those. I'm so numb, especially to this show. Just like throwing something out, it's like okay.
It's like in Star Wars when they introduce like a new concept of something somebody can do with the Force, like
or a lightsaber whip. Yeah, I know it's been around since the 80s, but even so, just like.
But no, like for sure. Like I'll see some crazy shit in Star Wars, and I'll go, yeah. There's a precedent for it somewhere, you know. But part of that's also built on precedent for me, you know. Like, how people be like, how the fuck did the Emperor come back? And I'm like, Darth Bane's been doing this in Legends for forever. The Emperor's been doing this in Legends for forever. I don't care. But anyway, Misato slapping. I keep forgetting Science Lady.
Ritsuko.
Misato slapping Ritsuko was incredible. You know, and I do really love.
I told you all the relevant information.
And I think what's really fascinating is like seeing that Ritsuko is absolutely part of the machine. That like I'm excited to see how this show ends for Ritsuko and Misato. Because I think there's a very clear parallel here of that, because again, for all of Shinji's faults, he is incredibly humanizing. I think a lot of the people he's been around for the run of this show up to this point started in a place of being not cold in like a cruel way, but just kind of very clinical, very matter of fact, very whatever. And there is something about Shinji that just makes you feel human. It reminds me of one of the weirdest things Scotty J-Ro has ever said to me. Where that's
saying something, because I imagine that's quite a lot.
It was one of the group chat we're all in. We're all like, you know, kind of like going back. I don't remember what we were going back and forth about. It was all of us. And out of nowhere, he said, Scotty, he said, Jarod, you are one of the most human people I've ever met. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And he said
funny, I can see him saying it, actually.
And again, and he wasn't saying I have a humanity about me. No. He was not calling me a humane person. He said you are so deeply human. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Did you ever explain?
Keep in mind, Scotty J-Ro is also the same person who 100% is on record saying he wants his consciousness to be uploaded into a computer one day.
I believe that as well,
yeah. Because he's already powered by AI.
I believe it.
Don't let the dolphin pictures fool you. But no, but I think Shinji does like have that very, like he will, like you could be as in the corporate military muck where everything is numbers on a board as you want. Being around Shinji Ikari will make you feel like a person again and make you get back in touch with what that feels like. And I love that about him as a character. And seeing
you could argue that he's just that pathetic, it brings out the humanity in people. I say pathetic in the most loving way possible. I am not a Shinji hater. I'm going on record.
Sure,
I adore Shinji, but his entire shtick is look how pathetic I am. I say that with every ounce of love and
I
respect.
have
for
a
my
different
body.
takeaway. I do not think it is a matter of him being pathetic. I think it is a matter of him accepting burden. And I think that the burden has crushed him a little bit, but it's also helped him reforge himself. Like,
I mean, I get where you're
Shinji
coming
is
from.
pathetic. He's also incredibly brave. He's
Oh, he
also
is.
he is also incredibly resilient. You know, like I think if he were truly pathetic, he would not have had that moment where he decided to not get on the train. That's pathetic. It's also very human and very valid.
But you could also
Not
make the
gonna be a
argument
child
he
soldier.
got off that train because it's what people expect him to do. It wasn't a choice he actually made. It was.
Well, I think, and
He
I think
had
that
the
goes through
anxiety
a
over the
very
consequence of what's
complicated
gonna happen.
theme. I think that goes through a very complicated theme that runs through the entirety of this show.
Oh, 100%, yeah. 100%.
That that whole like the difference between answering the call to do what needs to be done and being forced into being something you're not. Like I don't know when it will be out because I know we're recording this early. But probably by the time this is out, like I would have just done an episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy, because they kind of have like a mini series they do called A Theme Between Themes, where Eli will like bring somebody on and they'll take like two seemingly kind of disparate pieces of Star Wars media and be like, what connects these? What idea connects these two?
That's interesting.
And me being me, I said, oh, did you know that The Acolyte and The Force Unleashed are basically the same story, but backwards? And he was like, I can't believe you just said that. I'm sold. Explain it to me on air. And we were talking about how there is this idea that kind of runs through The Acolyte and The Force Unleashed of like, if I pretend to be this thing long enough, maybe I will become it. And unconsciously realizing that you're pretending to be it is you quietly giving yourself permission to embrace it.
Yeah.
And again, and I think that goes that idea is very true here.
Yeah,
and again, it's very complicated. It's a theme I've not touched on a lot because I want to see the trajectory of it,
where it goes. Yeah,
because again, and I'm sure we'll do a like once we finish all the shows and all the movies, we'll do let's talk about it in its totality.
100%. Yeah.
Where I do want to dive into themes and big ideas. Where this is kind of like an episode by episode, kind of like type thing. But no, seeing the way Misato has kind of regained a level of her own humanity, listening to the whole like, why the fuck do you care so much about this robot and not the fucking kid who's in it? Like that.
Not a robot.
That whole, you're right. The angel.
Ava.
I was right.
Ava.
I was
They
right.
are Evangelion.
I was right. Play the here's your intro clip, Mitch. Or, you can use it as the outro if you want. Here's me.
I was going to say this show
right.
was supposed to already have an intro, but
what's your intro now?
Well, it depends. If I get the other thing, then actually I might just rip it off YouTube.
I thought it was the last episode people will have seen will be that intro.
No, it's this one. That's why I opened this one up with the fellow lowborns.
Oh, okay. I see.
It could have been that one, admittedly, because I'd seen that clip before I edited everything, or before I rendered it, but I'd already edited the intro, and I was like, I'm not going to undo that.
No, that's fine. I thought the intro for this one was going to end up being me screaming, "I was right! I was right! I was right!"
I'd never do that, Jarod.
Well, you'd never front load me being objectively correct.
No. Or maybe I have. You might not know it yet. It's one of those.
Maybe that's a joke for the people who have seen to go, yeah, yes, well, maybe. Mm-hmm. I look forward to watching Pro and Noob after I get to the end of this shit.
You are going to notice so many things that I've said and be like, this piece of shit.
I hate it. I love it. But no, the slap was great. The crowd pop that came out of me with Misato's like, what are the Avas. And I'm like, yeah, ask the questions. Ask the important questions, Masato. We're getting to the truth. This is a globalist conspiracy. I'm like losing my shit, like cheering for her.
The Avas are the indomitable human spirit.
Yes. Stone buildings burned to the fucking ground, Ritsuko. The moment where Shinji's like, okay, so here's a question. Kind of silly, but just to understand the framing of what's going on a little better. Shinji's moment where he's talking to himself, as it were.
Yeah.
Is that explicitly just Shinji's internal monologue, him like having like kind of like an maybe, you know, oxygen deprived like aha moment? Or is that a weird thing with the angel?
That's himself.
It is. Okay. I was just curious. I didn't know if that would become an important thing. Okay. Just stupid question.
Shinji on the train is always internalized.
And it's a very evocative image we called attention to all the way back at the beginning of the show. And I'm impressed with myself for knowing this is going to become an important piece of iconography. If I may again say,
when you use that,
Motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.
this motherfucker cut me off, goddamn, on my own show.
What did you get for doing it in the Nerd Academy StreamYard?
When did I cut you off on that?
I'm saying that's what you get. I have all of my clips at my fingertips. I have all of my.
Oh, I thought you meant I cut you off on the Nerd Academy.
No,
I was like,
no.
excuse me.
No, I'm saying like, that's what you get. I have access to all my clips. So
Clutch the pearl.
and at any moment you can be like, hey, put new clips in for Pro and Noob, and I will. But you've never made that request, so I haven't.
No, I think about it, but I never actually settle on what I'd want.
We share this space. We are domestic partners at this point.
Wow.
But no, like I do love how prevalent that bit of iconography has become throughout the show. I think it's very poignant because it does portray that sense of isolation that Shinji has always had, and I think that his big arc is going to be overcoming that hurdle.
It's also where he kind of like wishes he was, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, let's go back to the bit where I ran away, and I probably should have run away, but I couldn't. So I'm just gonna take me back to the train.
But yeah, but like it's very much that one line from Deadpool and Wolverine, a movie that some people inexplicably didn't get.
Shock.
Listen, the moment we hit the point where some of the entertainment news pundits don't understand a Deadpool movie is the moment I've lost a lot of faith in a lot of institutions.
It's just it's a completely different conversation. It's not they don't understand it. They're actively getting
it wrong. They're getting it wrong on purpose for clicks.
Yeah. 100%, yeah.
Again, the fact that we've reached the point where variety
same conclusion you get to. The faith just dips, but different.
I'm just saying Variety has on multiple occasions run on like Fandom Menace adjacent talking points for the last year, and it's making me real fucking angry. That is a conversation for a different podcast. Just putting it out there.
Yes. Back to the animals.
And back to the animu. But no, Shinji in his moment is just so. I literally have in my notes, quote, that one moment, goddamn.
Which one?
No, just like the line of dialogue. Like you keep clinging to this one moment of happiness.
Oh, yeah.
Like just, and again, knowing, and that was the thing, is like I wanted to know, like, is this Shinji truly talking to Shinji, or is this the angel getting in his head and taunting
This is
him?
Shinji's like little kid in himself, like really unhappy.
Yeah, and it's so beautiful and so powerful. And I think that,
Or Shinji's side that blames himself for everything, which would be obviously the younger one, but being the older version of Shinji, because the newer Shinji isn't that anymore.
And it makes, not to get way too ahead of ourselves, it makes the final moments of the episode really, really complicated. Because he has that moment where he has like a brief moment of laughing at nothing, which is such a human thing. And it's a human thing that he has never really gotten to experience. Like, how many everyday experiences do you and I have just in our own mundane lives where a stranger on the street does a silly thing and we're like, huh, it's funny. Or somebody you know, or like a coworker says just like an oddball, not even weird, like just in like just a stupid, like somebody did a thing and in the moment it made me chuckle for an innocuous reason. You know, nothing worth telling the story of it about, just a little like, huh, that was funny. Like I'm at work, I come around the corner in the stock room and I watch somebody very confidently turn down the wrong aisle and like out loud go, fuck, and then turn around and go down the right one. Like that kind of thing. Like,
that's funny.
That's not a story worth telling somebody.
No,
but in that moment, funny. It's like, that was a funny little thing I just watched. I watched another human being hurtling through the universe do. And Shinji has one of those small moments where he watches another human being hurtle through the universe. Like, just hear Asuka could be like, ah, motherfucker, and just get angry at nothing. And he has a moment of like, classic Asuka. And I was like, and I really thought the episode was going to end with him just laughing at a mundane thing, which is such a human thing, which is an experience that we are all as human beings entitled to. Small, essentially meaningless, but full of meaning because it shows us we are still alive, right? This is going to a really heavy place, guys. As this episode did, but you just have those moments of just like just a brief moment of like, we're all people and it's all of this is silly, but like it has meaning because we are here. And he doesn't get to experience that like ever. And then fuck, it's awful. It hurts that he doesn't get to experience that. And I was so hoping that's where the episode would end, of just Shinji kind of coming out the other end of this internal experience going, like, stop blaming yourself. Don't cling to one moment. That wouldn't be the show. Don't cling to one moment, because if you will allow it to be, every moment can offer you the opportunity to have another like thing to cling on to. That split second where somebody turns the wrong way and like cusses to themselves about it is another moment of joy to remind yourself that you can still feel, And the fact is like, it's funny. Yeah, lays back down. I can't get all the blood off. Like, and it's it's just the whiplash of like of like the small, insignificant but powerful moments that drive our everyday lives. And it's like, yes, Shinji, you deserve to have that moment. Immediately followed by, the blood will never go away. I am soaked in the death of like. Oh, you poor kid. Like, but again, that's the end of the episode. But yeah, no, just all of the internal conversation. Quick question.
Shoot.
His dad killed his mom?
He's suspected of killing his mother.
Okay, so
you're also taking that from the memory of a child.
Of a dying child. I'm aware. Don't worry. Mitch.
Who probably... I'm trying to think when it...
I'm going to full screen myself for a second, just because I need to hammer a point home. Mitchell. Mitch 692.
Not the full Christian name, please.
Mitch Mitch 692 in the streets.
I was gonna say the legal name is off limits.
Of course, I would never.
Not the legals.
Do you think I don't know that the fleeting memories of a dying child are not admissible in court?
Sometimes.
Do you think this is a new concept to me?
Oh, I don't know.
My guilty pleasure franchise is Five Nights at Freddy's. You don't think I know that the last gasps of a dying kid are kind of hard to stake a whole idea on? You think I don't know that?
Mm-hmm.
Or am I new? Are you new? Did we just meet?
No, you're Noob.
Well played. But no. But all of that. But no, when we go into
there is a very sassy. Well, there was some sass if Ikari killed Yui.
excited to see how that pans out.
Yeah. That's if you find out.
Also, it would not be a show that you and I talk about if there was not a memory gauntlet.
That's true. That's true.
We got a memory gauntlet, and it had like royalty-free Barry White music under it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that bass line started like bum-da-da-dum-da-dum-da-dum, like it started hitting, and there's a part of me that's just waiting for like, oh baby, I love you, my first, my last. Like I was like seriously, I was like, is it Barry? Is it Marvin? Like Luther Vandross? Like what's about to start playing here? The music was a wild fucking choice for that little sequence. Also, gotta say, again, y'all know I come from Star Wars. I love words of encouragement from beyond. No spoilers for Ionized Bastard Season 2. But there's kind of a similar moment in the finale of that.
There is, yeah.
You know, a moment, because I love those moments when it is extremely private as well. Like those are that is a character beat. I do not care. You could tell an aggressively dog shit mediocre story. If you give me a moment where a loved one of the main character meets the main character at the threshold of life and death and goes, "You're kicking ass, finish the job, I love you so much," I will always stand and clap for that. I will always stand and clap for that. Is that because I'm way too into Star Wars? Probably. But it always works. It will always work for me. That is a...
Why you'd be a really bad Jedi.
Huh?
It's why you'd be a really bad Jedi.
What in the fuck does that mean?
Attachments. Passions.
Listen... You don't get it. You don't get it, Mitch. I love you so much. I love working with you so much. I don't know what it's going to take for me to explain the Jedi to you. And it fucking infuriates me.
See, now, if we go back to the Acolyte review, which I'm not sure when the re-upload's coming out.
Let me see if it got re-uploaded yet.
I don't think it has. You said that was clever when I did that the first time. So I'm just feeling gaslit right now. And
listen, it was the way you said it just now that upset me, is what I'm saying. It was the way that I was like, words of encouragement from beyond is a thing that I will always love. And then you hit the Jarod be a bad Jedi because he loves people. And then I'm like, you're missing the point.
It works
doesn't
every
look like
time.
it's been uploaded.
No,
But-
it probably hasn't. No. I assume it will hopefully be this week, or by the time this has come out, I hope it's already come back out, because
Yeah,
otherwise
same.
people are going to be like, what the fucking hell's the Acolyte? But anyway, animals.
But yeah, but no, like it soars for me in Jedi Survivor. It is one of my favorite parts of the sequel trilogy. It's one of the only thing that could make the Jedi speaking to Rey from Beyond scene better to me is if the ghosts physically appeared as she defeats
I agree.
the Emperor.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who say that it should be the ghosts doing it. No. I would just thing that because I have always interpreted, sidebar real quick, I've always interpreted that scene as her calling on the Force in a bigger way than she ever has, and it is because the cosmic force is coming to her aid in a way that is kind of unprecedented. So from a certain point of view, technically they are helping, but the fan edits of it being Anakin's ghost completely stealing the show, get that out of here. But I would love a version of it where it is the Emperor as he's trying to kill Rey, and he's oh, there's that guy I killed, there's that guy I killed, there's that guy I killed. Oh, I'm getting jumped by one person. That's what's happening. Well, fuck me. Anyway, always works for me. And that and I wrote down the dialogue because this line got me in the heart, where the ghost of the mom kind of comes in and kind of gives Shinji that final push to pull through and push the Eva despite being devoid of any remaining energy to do the thing. And you'll be okay. Glad to hear it.
It's a great line. Great.
Oh, fuck. So good. So fucking good. So beautiful. So powerful. For that to be that, because and again, sometimes it's got to be sometimes it's got to be a full monologue. Sometimes it's got to be sometimes it's got to be a little bit.
No.
Sometimes it's got to be a little bit. Again, you using Star Wars as the example here. Sometimes it's Rey on Exegol. Sometimes it's Cal on Tanalorr. Of Cal. Now, where it's just that one voice where you can feel that they're always going to be there. No matter how it's framed, I love it. And this exact moment of it kind of being nonchalant, it's very much a mother. Because I always talk about when you have a little kid, you have a toddler, right? It's my nephews are a great example. I'll watch one of these kids just swan dive off of a toy box and smack his head off the ground and pick himself up, kind of fix his shirt, and then go back to just dooting around the living room, right? I will watch that same kid barely bump into the wall, and you go, ooh. And then he starts screaming and crying. Right. And there's that kind of psychological effect of don't react too bad because you will convince them they're more hurt than they are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And not to infantilize Shinji, but I love that that's kind of what his mother's spirit is doing in that moment. Where she's reacting to him suffocating and drowning in this ectoplasm and whatever bullshit inside of an extra dimensional being, and goes and reacts like he skinned his knee on the playground. And it's you all right? Hell yeah, get back out there. That just cinema.
Then you get those fantastic trumpets afterwards.
Yes.
I love it. Horrifying. Horrifying. I love that scene because it's disgusting as shit. It's just I pilot something like that? Gross. I'm now terrified of the Saber.
I have a lot of feelings about that scene that I don't know how to express until we get more context.
Is it how does it go through one bit and come out of a shadow?
No, I don't care. Kind of confusing. Good. Don't give a shit.
Fourth dimensional being, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Because I think the hot theory is that the shadow, what they think is the angel, isn't even just the angel. It's like a shadow of a shadow. But I don't know where people get that from, but it's just like, okay, cool. Like,
no, I mean, on one hand, it's very triumphant. Again, indomitable human spirit jokes and all that. On the other, it is grotesque and horrifying. And I think it is another drop in the bucket of Shinji. Because again, Shinji is this very human person. He like me, is deeply human. And
he's deeply inhuman. Not in that way.
Based on the way he kissed Asuka, that's not happening anytime soon. But
what's that? Did he kiss her? I feel like he didn't do much.
I feel like he didn't do much. The motherfucker almost passed out, Mitch.
That's his own fault. He shouldn't have breathed through his nose.
Shut up. Anyway, no, like again, it's very triumphant. It's very, like again, it is the human spirit, but it is also watching a spirit break all at the same time. Where like parts of Shinji's humanity are lost when we watch him like engage in like over the fucking top violence. Defeating an angel is not a peaceful act. It never has been portrayed as such. But there's levels to it. There's a difference between kind of like a quick, okay, guys, run and gun, blow up the monster, and I have this angel pinned and I won't stop fucking stabbing it in the fucking face. It's this very triumphant da-da-da versus like a scene from Oz. Like, just fucking die, motherfucker, bleed.
That's funny.
And these are one of those instances where Shinji destroys this thing horrifically. And
does he though? Is it Shinji's doing? Is the question.
Very good question. We don't know, and like I said,
because we know that thing go crazy. We know that thing go crazy.
Like I said, we will see. I don't know what to make. Like I said, it's a scene that I would like to unpack with more context down the road. I gave all my thoughts on the ending, other than Asuka clearly knows what's going on with the Avas.
Does she?
Ritsuko says to Commander Ikari, if Shinji and Ayanami ever found out, I don't think they'd ever trust us again. Which implies that Asuka knows already. At the very least, the idea that these are replicants of the first angel.
No, see, to me, that's speaking to her personality.
That Asuka would just go along with it if she found out. I thought that was an option too, but I wanted to go with the most bombastic thing to say out loud. You
just want to slander and libel Asuka all over the floor. And
none of you can stop me. But yeah,
I can edit it out. It's totally fine. No.
And I will post the raw file on my own channel.
I'll give you a copyright strike.
Oh, okay, Lily Rose. Okay.
I will win this. Asuka wins this fight. I'm channeling the German, or half German, because she's not fully German. But yeah, no, this is. I think this might have been one of my favorite episodes of the show so far. Really, really good stuff. It is good stuff. It's a shame that the master copy of this episode got lost. Really? Did you not notice the quality dip? No. Go watch 15 and this one again. Watch them again. I'm sure if I did this as a twofer, I would have picked up on it, or if I was binging the show, I would have. Noticeable. No, it's kind of sad. It's like you look at it like, oh, this is. I'm not sure. I'm pretty certain they just used like the old DVD release or like VHS probably at the time to get it back. But it's like, man, it's always something lost in animation, and it sucks. But yeah, this is a good one. This is a really good one. Now, do I say a thing? Say it. Do I not say a thing? There's nothing on this earth that makes me angrier than somebody getting ready to say something, telling me they were about to say something, and then not saying it.
So as a professional
Oh,
courtesy,
you should not have told me that.
As a professional courtesy, you should tell me right now.
One thing. I just got to figure out how to phrase it. There's something at one point in this episode that hints to something slightly bigger at what's going on. And I'd be interested to see what you make of it when we come back. Because I'll be honest, I literally only just noticed it today.
Well, you don't have to tell me what it's hinting at, but what was the moment?
Between Shinji and Yui. There's a very specific point. And they're doing a very specific thing. I don't know why. It's either I never clicked with it or I just really noticed it. And I was like, that's cheeky. I'd never spotted that before. That's
Fascinating.
Very cheeky. It is. Because with context, you're going to be like, you son of a bitch. Without context, it's absolutely nothing. Like most things. Well, I just saw it and I was like, that.
And it's nothing that I would be able to like divine from the moment. It's one of those like retroactive, like, oh, that's really good.
Well, I hope so. We can go back again and report back.
Absolutely. Well, I look forward to that. So yeah.
So that's going to be it for 11. I remember this time. So yeah, catch us next week. Go follow Jarod and the Nerd Academy. All his places. The link tree is down there on the screen, as well as mine. Go follow me. So like, subscribe, and comment. Don't tell Jarod nothing in the comments.
Tell me absolutely nothing.
Even though I say that every week, so I made a little note. But yeah, we'll catch you all next time for a twofer.
Thank God. I needed it.
Oh, don't say thank God just yet. But yeah. Peace.
Have a nice
He was always so happy with it. Hey guys, thanks for watching or listening. You know, whatever flavor you prefer. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the good stuff so you don't miss an episode. And of course, leave a comment. You know, tell us what you thought about this episode of Neon Genesis. You know, if you watched it before or you haven't, I generally love to hear what people think about this show. If you're following along with us, that's great. If not, and you watched it before, you know, tell us what you think about this one specific episode in particular, because we are trying to keep Jarod spoiler free as much as possible. And yeah, you know, any help is greatly appreciated for this little channel project we're working on here. You know, trying to build this up, and of course we can't do that without you guys. So yeah, any help is greatly appreciated, and we'll catch you all for the next one. So take care.